Howdy, this is SlingFin Tim, here to tell you about our brand spanking new flat tarp, the NFT. Seems like everyone's making NFTs these days, so why not us? You might say, hey, this is just a rectangular piece of fabric. How special could it possibly be? Let me tell you, this thing is pretty neat. We designed the NFT to accentuate the strengths of the flat tarp style, namely its versatility, lightweight, and space-to-weight ratio, but with thoughtful design touches and careful fabric selection to make it easier to set up, lighter, and more compressible. Once you learn a little bit more about this bad Larry, we think you'll agree. This is a nice, flat tarp. The NFT is a 10-foot by 9.5-foot rectangular tarp with a flat ridgeline seam, subtle catenary curves around the edges, and as many tie-outs as you could possibly want. We use the full roll width of our fabric, so the tarp can be produced with almost no fabric waste.
The NFT weighs 12.3 ounces for the tarp only, 13.6 ounces including all 6 pre-installed guy lines, and 21.8 ounces with all 12 8-inch long DAC stakes, all 4 accessory guy lines, and the stuff sacks.
With pre-installed guy lines at each end of the ridgeline and at all 4 corners, plus 2 mid-panel guy out points on each side, 3 perimeter pull-out loops along each long edge, and 2 ridgeline guy out loops, the pitching possibilities are endless. The NFT can be set up in a staggering number of configurations, depending on your use case, the weather, and the number of companions you're traveling with.
Pitch it in the classic A-frame for a good all-around pitch. Stake one end down to the ground for windy weather. Use the ridgeline guy outs to increase interior volume. Make an awning to take in the view, or a lean-to for a windbreak. Pitch it with your bike. Use it as a ghost costume,
or pull all the corners up for a spacious group shelter for cooking, games, hanging out, or desperately huddling together for warmth. All the guy outs and the O-rings sewn into the ridgeline seam are made of grosgrain wrapped in coated nylon to increase their strength and reduce water absorption and wicking. The 3 O-rings on the underside of the ridgeline can be used to attach a bug bivvy, such as our split wing mesh body. Most third-party bug bivvies can be adapted to fit the NFT. When you're not using a bug bivvy, the O-rings can be used to string a clothesline or to hang gear. The guy lines at the ends of the ridgeline and at all 4 corners of the tarp have dual adjustments, with one clam cleat sewn directly into the tarp and another clam cleat forming the stake loop at each end. This makes setup and trekking pole positioning a breeze, since you can adjust the tension from both ends of the guy line. All in all, it's a non-frustrating tensioning experience. All the guy lines included with the tarp are our custom spec 1.5mm orange reflective Dyneema-Core guy line with a 200-pound braking strength. It won't sag when wet and has a nylon sheath for abrasion resistance. The pre-installed ridgeline guy lines are 10 feet long and the corners are 8 feet, so your pitching configurations aren't limited by the length of the lines. The edges of the tarp have subtle catenary curves. This improves the fabric panel tensioning when pitching the tarp in the classic A-frame position. It reduces the slack caused by bias stretch in the fabric, which is a common problem with flat tarps with straight edges, without compromising the versatility afforded by the tarp's flat ridgeline seam. That's what helps make the NFT a non-flappy tarp. At its core, a flat tarp really is a rectangular piece of fabric, so let's talk about that fabric. This tarp uses our field-proven nylon fabric technology, which is a 10-denier ripstop nylon 6/6 coated on both sides with silicone. Using silicone instead of the PU coatings used on most tarps means it won't break down and get sticky with time, it packs down smaller, absorbs less water, sags less in rain, and is much more UV resistant. In our UV tests, this nylon far outperformed all our expectations for such a lightweight fabric and had superior performance to several much heavier nylons and polyesters that we tested. The 10-denier tarp fabric is complemented by 20-denier PE-coated ripstop nylon reinforcements at all the major stress points. The low water absorption of silicone-coated fabrics provides excellent mold and mildew resistance, making this a non-fungal textile. With its lightweight and diminutive pack size, it's easy to throw the NFT in your pack for an emergency shelter on a day hike or a backcountry ski tour. You can also use it to create a badass vestibule off of a tent. On stormy excursions with a group, a flat tarp can be a real trip saver. The NFT is a new, functional take on a classic shelter style. Whether it's your primary abode for a thru hike, a gathering place for your group, or an emergency shelter for an overly ambitious day trip, the NFT will always justify its spot in your backpack.